Hey guys, Jandre here. Hopefully your favorite digital marketer here in South Africa, and if I'm not, then I'm apologizing in advance, and we're just trying our best. So the long of the short of this series is that we're just taking some questions and we're answering them best I can on the fly with very little context. So this is episode 1. We're going to see how this goes. If you have questions, feel free to email them to jandre@v8media.co.za, and if you find value in this, then feel free to like and subscribe for more content like this, because I don't know if I should continue to do this. So give me an idea if this is valuable, and then I'll continue to do it because I like doing it. But I also want to make sure that what I do like to do offers some value. Right, so let's just dive into the first question, shall we? As a real estate agent, I need to generate leads for my properties, sales, and rentals. Makes sense. What digital marketing approaches are most effective for lead generation in the real estate industry, and how can I differentiate myself from the competition online? So we've seen quite a lot of success on Meta, actually, to be honest with you. Obviously, you can jump onto Google and do some intent-based marketing. The problem with that is if you are your own independent agent, then you might not necessarily have the budget of these big companies. So it depends on, do you own the actual company, or are you an independent agent within the company? So what I'm trying to say is it probably depends on your budget, right? So if you have a limited budget, I think things that we've seen work well is just lead form ads that highlight, the property that is to rent or the property that is for sale. So lead form ads work really well. The nice thing about Facebook or Meta, for example, is that you can ask any questions these days within those forms. Back in the day, it would only used to be preset questions like name, email, contact number, job title, etc., location. These days, you can literally customize the lead form any way you want, and you can even build in some testimonials and reviews into those lead forms, which is pretty cool. So I think with that said, if you have a limited budget, I'll probably opt for lead forms. I'd focus on a lead form specifically around selling property. I won't try and have too many messages in the actual ad. I'd have one specifically for trying to sell property, one for attracting actual people who want to list the property. I mean, maybe, different ads for people who want to rent and rent out their properties, for example. So I think lead form ads is a great place to start, no doubt. I think what is going to be crucial is someone nurturing the leads. I think most agents have the excuse they don't have the time to nurture these leads, and I think it's just an excuse that you can't afford. So if you're going to be spending that money on marketing, you're going to have to do everything you can on the back of that in order to phone those people. I think the biggest mistake that people make, they phone someone once or twice, or WhatsApp them once or twice, and then just assume that they're not interested. They forget that those individuals that they're reaching out to are just as busy as you are, if not more. So it's being persistent in a gentle way so that you can actually get that person on the phone and go, hey, listen, why did you inquire? Is there something I can help you with? And that's how you can potentially build up your database and your client base, even though that person might not be interested in working with you in the short term. Maybe it's someone who might think of you long term. If you have a bigger budget and you potentially have your own website, Google ads do work great. We have clients in the actual property space who leverage Google ads. Whether you're targeting B2B or B2C, doesn't really matter. It's intent based. So if someone is searching, your ads pop up, you drive them to the site. So I think what's important to notice is that you've got competitors in this space like Private Property and Property 24. So you're not necessarily going to outbid them. But if you look at their ads, they're quite generic. So you can be a bit more creative with your copy, a bit more direct response focused as opposed to generic vanilla kind of text when it comes to your Google search ads. And I think what's also important to note is that you need an obviously good looking site that's clean, simple, to the point. I think we need to ask ourselves, what do people want when they look at property online? And they want to see as many shots as possible of the property. They want to get as much information as possible on the property. So you're going to have to take that time. If someone is listing with you, you're going to have to take that time in order to get all that information. And you're going to have to put in the effort in order to make that property look as attractive as possible, obviously, because you're selling same way you would sell to a person, and have cookies in the oven and all those traditional strategies of when someone walks in, they go, "Ooh, something smells nice." That home-me vibe. As much as you want to sell in person, you're going to have to think about how do you sell online, and it's the exact same mentality. Is like you're going to have to give people the experience in a digital way. So if you have the budget to do that, great. It will definitely help you increase the odds of someone inquiring. But if you don't, like I said earlier, something that you can look into would just be basic lead form ads, but you're going to have an aggressive CRM, customer relationship management system in place that can help you text people, WhatsApp people, phone them, email them accordingly, so they can actually start signing up with your services. So we use Go High Level. Go High Level works great for this. You can build your own landing pages, your own offers, and then you can follow up with people automatically via text and via email. So that's something to look into if you're in that space. Hope it helps. I've recently started an online fashion store and I am exploring Google Ads. What are the best practices for setting up Google Ads campaigns for an e-commerce business? How can I use keywords effectively to target potential buyers? Okay, well, Google Ads is going to be good because at the end of the day, people do search for jewelry quite often throughout the month. That's pretty cool. And there's a large amount of people who do search for jewelry. The competitiveness of the jewelry industry, even though there's a lot of people out there, the CPCs are not overly inflated as some other industries, like insurance as an example. So you have affordable CPCs. Outside of that, it's intent based. So if you're going to be running Google Ads, it's nice that you're getting good quality traffic. I think what's important from a keyword perspective is you don't want people just researching jewelry. You don't want people just in the market to learn more about a specific type of metal, or you do want people who are actively looking to buy, and you're going to leverage the Google algorithm to do that. So there are a couple of options. We've seen some good results with Google Performance Max at the end of the day, but I think when it comes from a keyword perspective specifically, you want to ensure that you pick keyword phrases that have buying intent in them. What I mean by that is that you want to construct a short little sentence, so 3 or 4 words. That's what we call a phrase match keyword. And you want to include words like buy, price, etc., because those words indicate that someone is close to buying. Now, obviously, the algorithm will try its best to show to people who are more likely going to convert depending on how you've set up the campaign. So if you have a sales-focused campaign, then that is something that will happen. But at the end of the day, you also want to leverage keywords strategically. You don't just want to have gold necklace, because someone can search something like, what does the average gold necklace cost? Someone's going to say, how to clean a gold necklace. So those are not necessarily people that you want to target per se, but you want someone who goes, where to buy a gold necklace online, best place to buy a gold necklace. Those are kind of keywords that you might want to focus on. So I hope you get the gist of what I'm saying. There's a lot of nuances to unpack, but that is literally the foundation of keyword setups. I think what's important to understand is that the chances of someone clicking on your ad once, coming to your site once, and then buying is very, very low, especially from a jewelry perspective, because usually, most jewelry, you get cheap jewelry, you get expensive jewelry, so it depends on where you are in the spectrum. So the more affordable the jewelry, the less touch points you need before someone converts. The more expensive the jewelry, obviously, the more touch points you need before someone's going to decide to buy from you. And when it comes to jewelry, it's also a very personal thing. And usually, the average basket size of a jewelry item is a little bit more than most. Again, it depends on the type of jewelry that you're selling. But let's, for argument's sake, say that you are selling jewelry around 800 Rand plus. Then you need to understand that people will take the time to research where they're going to buy from. So the questions they're going to have is, can I trust you? So what trust elements do you have on your site? Is your site secure? Do you have the right payment gateways that people like and enjoy to use? Do you have some reviews? Do you have some testimonials? What proof do you have that people are actually going to get the product? Because that's one of the biggest barriers to people buying is like, am I going to get this or am I going to get scammed? Do you have any proof to guarantee that the product is actually the quality that you say it is? So these are more psychological elements that you're going to have to take into consideration. But the reason I'm mentioning it is because if it's not just about running Google Ads and then seeing the traffic and the sales come through. There are all these psychological barriers that people have that you need to take into account in order to improve the efficacy of your Google Ads. So those are the questions that you need to be asking yourself. Then outside of that, by running Google Ads, people are going to click, people are going to look at the product, but then they're going to bounce. So do you have a retargeting strategy in place to capture everybody who might have bounced off? And that's where you might want to focus on a Facebook remarketing strategy. So we've seen it works quite well if you drive people from a Google Ads perspective, which is really good quality intent-driven traffic based, hopefully based on the keywords that you've chosen. So on the flip side of that, you might want to have like a remarketing strategy in place on platforms like Meta, for example, that will act as like a sheep on all the traffic that might have bounced off and didn't convert. So now you're creating a bit of an omni-channel approach. It's not just Google, people bounce off, you catch them on Facebook, and also you can get a bit more visual with the Facebook elements, and you can actually have a video of the founder to build that trust. You can have a testimonial or review show up in their face, again, to strengthen that trust and credibility. So that's how you can get creative with different channels in order to improve the efficacy of the campaign. I think outside of that, we've also just seen that email marketing is going to be crucial. So if you have an online store, people bounce off after the checkout. They don't really complete the checkout process. So do you have a strong abandoned cart process in place that can help convert those people? Most people make the mistake of only having 1 or 2 emails. So the question is, can you have 4 to 5 emails that don't, annoy people? People are willing to read, and that can actually create excitement around buying the product, as opposed to just 1 or 2 default vanilla emails that Shopify or any other platform provides you with. So getting creative with the abandon strategy, getting creative with the remarketing strategy, and then obviously understanding the psychological component. All of those 3 things on the back will help you make your Google Ads more effective if you had to, pick the right keywords for your search campaigns. All right, guys, so that's really all the time that we have today. I hope there was some value in it. If there was, maybe like, subscribe, maybe ask a question. Let me know if you have questions for next week. We're going to continue doing this whilst it's fun and as long as it's adding value to everybody else out there. So from my side, I'll see you next week. All the best. Cheers.